Welcome back, everybody. Today's thought experiment is Dear Future Human Race. And I haven't decided if I want to say 2050 or 2100. If I am alive in the year 2100, I will be 104 years old, which was wild to think about. Like it's very unlikely, but it's not out of the realm of possibility, especially when you factor in technology and everything. So yeah, let's do this. Dear human race of 2100, if we're even still human, if we're even still a species, because you never know. You never know. Um, yeah, I think so. So back up a little bit. I want to do this video because I was thinking about how fast technology changes, how fast the world changes, and I have some like predictions, some hopes, some thoughts on where our society, where our species is heading. And I thought it'd be interesting. And I think it will generate some very interesting comments in the discussion. So please feel free to like comment down below your thoughts. So in the year 2100, that is what, 77 years away from right now. That is wild to think about. That is like generations into the future, but it's not even that far away. So my fears, we're going to do fears and then we're going to do hopes, because we'll start with the negative and we'll go to the positive. My fears is that in the year 2100, the earth will have some kind of irreparable damage to it. I mean, you look at the ocean health, the fishing stocks of the ocean, coral reef health, those kinds of things. You look at places that are almost irreversibly broken, like the rainforest and even the boreal forest and things like that are exploited. My fear is that these things become irreversibly damaged. That remains to be seen. There's lots of data on the positive, there's lots of data to the negative, so we can't really know what's going on there. My fear for like society as a whole is that technology becomes a great divider, and it divides humans. It keeps us away. Even today, technology divides people. Social media keeps us further apart from the people we love. It can connect you if you're using it correctly, but I think a lot of people feel more isolated than they ever have today, which is quite a shame. Linguistically, I think English will continue its horrible creep across the world. It's something like 3 or 4 languages, indigenous native languages, die a day or a week or something like that. And as someone who studied linguistic anthropology, I'm really worried that the world's languages, there's going to be like 6 of them by the end of 2100. We're seeing languages drop at an alarming rate. And it's really sad because these languages hold history and culture and religion and identity inside of them, and they help carry the culture forward. So I'm really worried that English and maybe Mandarin and French will continue to dominate the global stage, and more people will be speaking just a handful of these languages. Probably, there'll probably be 20 or 30 languages that are spoken pretty regularly in different countries, but I do worry that our world is becoming monolingual, and especially with like the advent of technology and how important it is to speak English in the business or the scientific community. So I do worry about that. I'm like, oh gosh, I really hope that language is still a beautiful, diverse patchwork, because it's so amazing. I mean, a lot of the words in English come from different concepts or different words from other languages, and it's beautiful. So that's a fear I have there. I'm sorry, this like the first half of this is a little bit depressing. Um, Politically, I worry that we are becoming more and more politically divided. Today in 2023, it is very easy to identify people as liberal or conservative, or as right-wing or socialist or communist, and people discard people very quickly for the views that they don't agree with. And I worry that that polarization will continue. Even if it just continues as it is today, that's not a good sign, because the political scene today is very tumultuous, very sad, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating to see neighbors and family members have these huge political disagreements. And the weird thing is, these political disagreements don't affect these people in their real lives. So they might be arguing over some very contested topic, but this topic has nothing to do with either of these people. And so that's frustrating that like people are arguing theoretically and choosing to judge people very harshly for that theoretical criticism. So that's sad. I hope that doesn't continue, but I've got a feeling that it will, and it might get worse. So we talked about the environment. We talked about that stuff. Financially, I am really worried. I think my generation is really feeling these struggles financially. I think we are under a lot of pressure. There's been a lot of talk of inflation and how prices just keep going up and up and up, and wages are not increasing. And so I'm very worried for economic instability, particularly in the West. I think Africa and many of the emerging markets are sort of experiencing a great growth, and so many millions of people are being pulled out of poverty, which I think is amazing. But I do worry that Western society is becoming sort of hollowed out in some ways, and that's not because of the emerging markets, it's because of political decisions and economic decisions. So I am worried about that. It's one of those things that I don't talk about on social media, but my dad's an economist, so I learn a lot of this stuff and I do my best to keep up with it. So I'm worried about that. I'm worried about the economic situation in 2100 when I'm 104 years old. If I have children or grandchildren, like this will directly impact them, what's happening now. So yeah, I think those are the main concerns. I don't, like I said, I'm a pretty big optimist, and we're gonna get into the hopes in a second here. So while I think that everything I've just said is very worrisome, and there are areas that we need to focus on as a species, I think there are steps that people are taking today, right now, to try and fix these issues and to try to prevent problems. So now we're going to get into my hopes. So my hope is that the human race continues its climb towards sustainability. We're using more and more renewable sources of energy. We are learning and developing techniques and technology that make the world a brighter and better place. As I said, millions of people have been pulled out of poverty in the last 100 years. So hopefully in the next 100 years, that continues. We're now at a stage where more people are eating too much or eating too much of the bad food than there is starvation on the planet. So we're kind of at this weird continuum where, there is enough food to go around. We just need to figure out how to make sure that it's healthy food and that everyone can get it and afford it. And I think those problems are somewhat getting better. I really hope they are. If you're in your local neighborhood and you can donate to a food bank or you can support in any way, you should do that because it's important. Nutrition is so important. That being said, I hope that we continue our advancement in medical technology and we continue figuring out how to improve the quality of care for patients while also, finding cures, finding solutions to our medical problems and to human suffering. I hope that continues. Politically, I really hope, and I think that there's a real chance that the generations coming up, call them the Gen X, Gen Z, Millennial, all of those generations, they're starting to sort of assert their power. And we're seeing, like I said, the renewable energy increase, environmental protection increase. We're seeing politicians starting to really take note of what my generation and the generation below and above me are talking about. We're starting to be taken seriously. And so I hope that we are able to continue that and that we can continue environmental protection and we can, target these things that I find very distressing, I don't believe in the doom and the gloom, but I also think that we have to be absolutely great stewards of the land that we live on and the land we inhabit and try and be sustainable. So I'm very hopeful for that. Economically, I really hope everyone is able to find jobs and earn a living, support their families, educate their children. I really hope culturally we get along really well and that it's an improvement. I think technology will play a big role in communication, in our culture, in our language. Preservation of language can be done through like recordings and all kinds of content creation for the next generation to grow up within their culture, within their language. So I think, we have some real opportunities there that we need to seize and we need to really use. So I think those are some very optimistic things. I don't think technology is like the end all savior of our society, of our species. I think a lot of it will have to come from human ingenuity, human compassion. I don't think we can just pretend and hope that science is going to figure out a solution to like drop a chemical into the water in the ocean and it's all fixed. Like that's not real, that's not practical, and I don't think that's a solution we should even try and figure out or consider. We should be focusing on other ways of protecting these things and of preserving. So yeah, I largely am very optimistic. I think as long as people continue trying their best, supporting their families, supporting their loved ones, treating people with compassion, living in the present, I think as long as people continue to do that, we will continue to grow and prosper and improve. Again, looking back at the last 100 years, I mean, my grandparents were born in the 1930s, and the changes they saw were incredible. I mean, the population like tripled or quadrupled. Now we're worried about underpopulation. That's a thing people are talking about now, which is incredible. But in terms of what my grandparents witnessed and still are, I mean, two of them are still very much with us at 87 years old. They're amazing. But in terms of the technological change, the societal change that they saw, there have been great leap forwards. Gay marriage, the acceptance of LGBT, civil rights movement. There have been some great strides. That's not to say that there haven't been some backpedals and some difficulties, but we got to appreciate where we've come from. If we can't do that, we're never going to get anywhere. So I firmly believe that these things will work out. We will continue to grow and prosper. And despite any of the evildoers and the people who are, too greedy or too prideful or too, just in general, the cardinal sins, whatever, those people, I'm not speaking from a religious point of view. I'm speaking from just the fact that some of the sins are sins, like they are problems to the human condition. And so hopefully those people don't win and we continue this growth. So who knows if this video has made it to 2100 on some newfound archive, or if it's a hologram or whatever, some newfound technology, this somehow makes it to 2100. I hope you all are well. I hope you are doing good. I hope you are appreciating and living every day as if it were your last, and you're leading with compassion. And yeah, I wish the future the absolute best. I hope to be a part of the future, as humbly as I can. Who knows? Maybe I won't be there. Maybe I won't want to be there. Maybe I will want to be there. But in all honesty, I hope the next generation and the generations that are currently here are able to really appreciate and live and be compassionate and find joy and happiness, because this world is a beautiful place and we are so lucky to inhabit it in all its drama. So yeah, if you are a future human being, or you're some sort of cyborg or artificial intelligence, or if you are some alien who has conquered our planet, welcome. It's gonna be crazy. Life is just ridiculous. It never gets simple. It never goes easy. But yeah, I wish you all the best, to all sentient beings who may watch this, and the non-sentient. I mean, if there's like a plant watching this somehow gaining consciousness, then welcome. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. I'm excited to read your comments on this one. I hope you're doing well, and I will see all of you tomorrow, but you might not see me, if that makes sense. Anyway, goodbye.